you guys, welcome to the video. I'm Natalie and Happy New Year's. I know that a lot of us are setting New Year's goals and New Year's resolutions, so today I just wanted to share with you guys 6 tips for setting and achieving your goals. I'm sure there are a lot more than 6, but I just chose these ones because these are the ones I've learned about and these are the ones that I'm using to implement my own goals. The first one is to set reasonable goals and reasonable amount of goals. This is something I've always struggled with. Each year I'm getting a little bit better at it. One of my problems is that I set way too many goals and I expect myself to be able to accomplish all of them, which is just like too high of a standard. It's not sustainable. So like last year my goals were to get all A's in all my classes, even though I was taking a pretty high amount of credits in classes, to get 8 hours of sleep a night, to post videos weekly on this channel and my other channel, which I'm sure you could tell did not happen. Also working a certain amount of hours a week and exercising every single day and like 20 other things. And that just unfortunately was not possible. But the thing is, like, because I was holding myself to that standard, like I was just feeling disappointed in myself because I wasn't accomplishing those. And so it's important to not set too many goals for yourselves. Like this year, I'm still trying to whittle them down a little bit because I still have too many, but I'm trying to choose the ones that I really want to focus on, the ones that are really important to me. That way I can actually accomplish those ones, and that way it can be like sustainable and I can keep going with it. Something I like to think about for this is 1% change. So 1% is pretty manageable. Usually I think we hold ourselves to the expectation, especially when it's New Year's, we're like, I'm gonna completely change myself, or I'm gonna change like half the things I'm doing, and that is just like too much at once. The power of 1% change, I feel like is a good idea. It might not sound like much, but honestly it'll be difficult enough on its own, and then we can start doing more and more. Once we have that 1% change, then we can move on to another 1%, and I think it's just a good way to go about it. So for one, you don't have to start going for all your goals right now. If you have 5 goals that you want to accomplish this year, some of them I know may be like daily things, so you want to get into the habit of doing them every day, but sometimes it's just not possible to do all of them at once, so start off with one of them or something. And then once you get that one habit down, then you can add another one, and then continue working on the first one that you're working on, but also add a new one. And that way it just makes it more manageable. Another way to build up to your goals is if you have the goal to, for example, exercise for 30 minutes a day. You can start off with a lesser amount of days or lesser amount of minutes. So instead of automatically going for 30 minutes every day, and maybe that's a little too much for you to just all of a sudden start if you haven't been exercising at all, maybe start off working out like 3 times a week for 15 minutes, and then move it up to 4 times a week for 15 minutes. And then maybe once you get to 7 days for 15 minutes, then you can move it up to like 20 minutes every day. Don't expect yourself to be able to go from like nothing to like doing all of that at once. The second tip is to focus on systems. So if you haven't read Atomic Habits, I haven't either, but it's something that I want to do. And in my psychology class, I watched basically like a recap video of this book, and I'll put the link down below, but it's super helpful. And one of the main points you're saying from the book is focusing on systems rather than just goals. Because if 2 people have the same goal, one of them might accomplish it while the other doesn't. And if they have the same goal, then what's the difference? The difference is how they're trying to do it, the system. And the example that the maker of this video made is that even if you clean your room, if you don't change your system, it's gonna be messy again in another few days. And I definitely relate to that one, because I will clean my room like once a week or something, yet somehow another day later, it'll just be a complete mess. And so the point is I have to change my system. Like when I take stuff out, I have to put it away right away. You know, I have to have different compartments for things, stuff like that. So one of my own examples is that I'm trying to post on this YouTube channel every other week. That's another example of making it manageable to you, because one of my goals last year was to do it every week, and just with everything else I was trying to do, it just was not possible. It was too hard to film and edit in that quick amount of time. So this year I'm trying to start off with every other week, and then if it ends up being like easy, which I don't think it will, then I can try to do weekly or something. But yeah, the thing is, just because I made that goal doesn't mean that I'm suddenly going to be able to accomplish it. Like I have to put a system in place and really plan out how I'm going to do it. So just some examples of how I'm making the system is at the beginning of every month, I want to plan out the 2 videos I'm doing, and I'm going to plan out when I'm going to film them. I'm going to figure out certain days that I have time to edit them. I'm planning on talking to my roommate more about it and like figuring out when she's gone, but this year I'm actually going to have more communication about it. So those are my examples of like how I'm going to change the system. My third tip is also from Atomic Habits, and it's to use the 4 laws of behavior change. So the first law of behavior change is to make it obvious, and this has to do with environment design. Put less distance between you and the good thing. For example, if you're trying to practice the cello more, instead of having your cello like hidden away in your closet where you're not going to like see it and remember, oh yeah, I have to practice, put it out in the open, put it in your living room, or just like somewhere you're gonna see it every day. The second law is to make it attractive. If there's stuff you don't want to do, like homework or working out or a billion other things, whenever you think about it, you're kind of gonna dread it. But if you put something more attractive with it, if you add in some like element to it that makes you want to do it, then you're gonna be more likely to get it done. And this is different from having a reward that's coming later. But for example, like watching a movie while you're at the gym, or while you're exercising on the treadmill, or maybe even if you have like outfits that you like wearing when you work out. Something I noticed this past semester is during finals week and the week before, I was going to the library to study because I just had so much to do. And one thing that made it more attractive was just having friends there who were doing work with me, so that I didn't feel like I was just like by myself and like struggling on my own. And another thing was having snacks there. This is not something I tried before, but for some reason having snacks at the library made it like 20 times more attractive. And it wasn't that difficult to do. It didn't distract me from my work. Just like having like Cheez-Its there and maybe some muffins or like a drink or something just made me want to go a lot more. The third law is to make it easy. Don't put 20 steps between you and whatever it is that your goal is. If you want to read your scriptures first thing in the morning, then have your scriptures right on the nightstand or like somewhere right next to your bed instead of having to like go grab it from somewhere else or something. I feel like this is kind of similar to the make it obvious one. Another one is like if you want to go to the gym every day or something, and maybe your options are a gym that's a little nicer, that's like 30 minutes away or something, and then one that maybe has less equipment but it's like 10 minutes away. It kind of depends on your priorities here, but if something that's gonna like make you not want to go is being like, oh, it's 30 minutes away, that's far, I don't have time for that, then make it easier by having one that's just like really close that you can go to. And the fourth law is to make it immediately satisfying. Give yourself some kind of reward for doing it. Let yourself watch an episode of a show after finishing all your homework for the day. Go out and get a treat after you finish editing your video or something, and make it something that's like a little special, you know? So if you're already watching TV while you're doing your homework and stuff, it's not really gonna be much of a reward to be able to watch another episode at the end. Make it something that's like a little different than what you normally do and something that you don't get to do often. So yeah, those past two tips were ones from Atomic Habits and from the video, and so I highly recommend reading the book, but also if you just want a faster, like I think it's only 11 minutes or something, please watch that video. Super helpful. He explains things really well. So yeah, I'll link it in the description. My fourth tip is habit stacking. This is basically when you take a habit that you already have or like something that you already do every day, like brushing your teeth, and then you add on a new habit that you want to that. So you kind of like lump them together. That way, instead of having to completely start something new, it's like you can kind of add it on to something else. So for example, when you eat breakfast in the morning, you can gratitude journal during that time, or when you brush your teeth, you can do some stretches during it. That way you don't have to set aside separate time for it, and you don't have to remember it because you just add it on to something that you're already doing. My fifth tip is to have someone or something hold you accountable. I don't have any at the moment, but I'm sure that there are good apps out there that where you can like track your daily habits and stuff. Also, just like find people who have similar goals to you or people you can work on stuff with. My friend and I are trying to exercise more this semester, so we're gonna be going to exercise classes together. And that way, instead of me just like bailing out because I don't feel like going that day, I have someone else who's expecting me to go with them. And so it just makes me more likely to like go and to stick to that. One of my other goals is also to go to the library once a week. And so just like setting up times where I can go to the library with someone, and just, yeah, having someone who has that same goal and having an accountability partner. And my sixth tip is just to not be too hard on yourself about these. If you are trying to get a streak going for every day of doing something, if you miss a day, like don't beat yourself up about it. You don't have to wait until the new year next year to start again. Every day is a new opportunity and every moment is a new opportunity. You can change what you're doing right now. Like you don't have to wait for a new start. You don't have to wait for someone to set reset. That's your choice. Something I can get kind of stuck in is if I like break my streak of doing something, I'm like, well, what's the point? Like I basically already messed up, like, and I feel like all my motivation for it is just gone because I messed up. But something that is just always mind-blowing to me is that we can basically do whatever we want. Obviously we're held back by certain things. We're held back by money and certain circumstances, and just, you know, like we can't just fly all of a sudden, but we can basically do whatever we want. And I think that is so cool. And so you can set whatever goal you want, and you can decide to start that goal now. And say all of January you go to the gym, you're working out every day, you're following your goal, and then in February you miss like half the month. You do not have to quit just because you miss some days or a lot of days. You can automatically start again. Lots of time we think that being harsh with ourselves or like beating ourselves up after we mess up on something, or like yelling at ourselves about it, or like punishing ourselves for it is something that will help us stick with it. But this is something we talked a lot about in my positive psychology classes last semester. That is not an effective way to get things done. You yelling at yourself because you didn't get all your homework done for the day or you didn't get the grade you want or something is not really going to help you be better next time. So just be kind to yourselves. And the important part is that you're even trying to put in the effort to change and to be better. And so if you have ups and downs, that is completely normal, that is expected, and we're all having ups and downs. There's a post that showed up in my feed one day. I don't remember who it was by, but it was basically saying how progress isn't always linear. And so it showed this graph of like progress going like that and that. Like even if it goes up and down from here to there, even if you had ups and downs in betweens, that's still progress. Even if you get worse, you could still get better in the future. And I feel like, again, like I said, just because you're trying, that is its own type of progress. And so I just want to encourage you guys to not give up, to keep going with it. And yeah, I hope these tips help you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm excited for this new year, and I wish you guys all the best. See you guys next time.